welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, April 8th, and we are in another vlog. We are in weeks 8 and 9, which means that we are going to be approaching the halfway mark officially, which is wild. So yeah, this week I will be about halfway for my draft. The goal of this is 75,000 words. As of today, we should be at 35,000. So, by the end of the week, in theory, we will be halfway there. Now, my vlog is actually going up today. So if you guys watched that one, then you know that the last 2 weeks did not go according to plan at all, which is to be expected in my life. Like if somebody is not having a family emergency in this household, it's a weird week. And the fact that we had so many good weeks leading up to that, I just felt like it was bound to happen, especially on the week we were supposed to be going away. So we went to Boston this past weekend, and I really did just take a break. Like I could have written. We did spend a lot of time in the hotel, mostly because of personal illness, but because of that, like I could have written, but I didn't want to. I just felt like the crescendo of all the issues that week just kind of burned me out a little bit, and I didn't want to force something and be miserable with what I wrote. And I had already planned on taking the weekend off from writing anyway, so despite the fact that I didn't hit my word count goal last week, I committed to taking it off. And I do feel better now. It is currently 9:21, and my goal is to start writing at 9:30. So I have grand plans for today. Obviously, I'm home. I took the day off, and I'm very happy that I did. Honestly, if you guys have the luxury working in an office and having an extra day to yourself after taking a vacation, I would recommend it for your mental health, because even though we got home at a decent time, we got home at 1 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday, I didn't sleep well in the hotel all weekend, so I was cranky and kind of miserable and in this weird like twilight, I'm tired but I can't fall asleep yet mode, because it was a very sunny day and it was really nice out. So I didn't sleep well, and I just knew that if I went to work today, I was going to be miserable. So I took today off, and that means that we are treating our work day today as an entire writing day, and our goal is to hit 5,000 words. Throughout the course of the Reedsy program, the goal is to write 5,000 words a week. I only wrote 1,000 words last week, which means that I'm 4,000 behind for last week. Plus, I should be writing 1,000 today, which means if I should be at 36,000 words today, then I need to write 5,000 words to get there. And I really do need to write 5,000, because I thought I had a little bit more, but I didn't. I have 31,056 words, which means for the most part, I have to write that 5K. Now, do I have to? No. Do I want to? Yes. Because it is a day that is completely comprised of whatever the heck I want to do. And I do have lofty goals, but not like out of my reach kind of goals. I want to write 5K. There are 2 lives. I never ended up watching last week's live, which was about editing and editors, and I really wanted to watch that one. So I want to watch that while I clean up my house today, in between writing the 5K. And then at 3 o'clock, there's a live editing. So that's where Tom is going to be going through and talking about how he's editing stuff live. And I would like to tune into that maybe while I'm on the treadmill, and just, again, gathering like how people edit and like the things that people look for in books when they're editing. It's very valuable. So that's kind of where our goal is today. So writing 5K, watching the live while I clean up, and watching the other live while I walk on the treadmill and doing something healthy. I may flip-flop those too. Like I may walk on the treadmill while I watch the first live and then watch the other live while cleaning up. I just have to be moving. I can't sit still. I've sat a lot in the last couple of weeks. And ultimately, this should work out to like an 8-hour work day. If I assume I can write 1,000 words in an hour, which is probably actually overestimating, but either way, that means 5 hours of writing time, 2 hours for the live streams, and then an extra hour to do my weekly video, which this week is on middles. So the first point is we're talking about the halfway point today, and that's a 10-minute video. And then of course I like to look at the extras and read like the extended readings and examples and things like that. So I figured, give myself that extra hour. 8 hours in theory is overestimating, but knowing myself, I want to try to keep it realistic. So because of that, I think the goal is easy, especially because I have writing club tonight, which means I don't even have to write my 5 hours during the work day. I can save a little bit because I will have from 7 to 9 at writing club to write more. So I am going to probably save some stuff for writing club because I don't want to like burn myself out and then sit there and not do anything tonight. But I am excited at the prospect of getting some words out there. Unrelated to Reedsy, there was a call for Apex Magazine to do flash fiction with the theme of skins, and I kind of wrote a story that I think could actually fit for that. It would need editing. I didn't edit it since I wrote it. And I think I had submitted it for a different flash fiction, well, microfiction, and it didn't get accepted, probably because I didn't edit it really well. And I could, so that was like a 250 microfiction. I could beef it up to be under 1,000. I'm contemplating doing that at some point if I have time, but my main focus is on vampire and getting through the 5,000 so I can be on top of everything. So like in theory, if I get my 5,000 today and then like continue with 1,000 for the rest of the week until Friday, I could play around with editing that short story on the weekend. But I'm not gonna put too much pressure on myself. Other than that, we're just focusing on today. So that's where we're at. That's the check-in. Happy Monday, April 8th. I hope you guys are doing well, and I'm hopeful. The family crisis isn't like fully over, but it definitely has like dropped down. You know, we're not on like a level 5 hurricane anymore. We're probably on like just a level like 2. So things are evening out at least. And I'm hoping that we can just kind of keep riding this wave and have a decent week. So welcome to a new vlog, and let's get to work. After 1 hour, I have written about 1,300 words, just a little over. Actually, it's 1,324 words. So we are doing very well at 10:30. Now we're gonna go take a break and watch the live stream that I missed last week. Hi friends, a quick check-in. It is 11:27. I am making some pierogies for lunch, and you know, we have the frozen gluten-free. So if anyone's ever interested, it's the Contes, and they're honestly pretty banging, but they're very tiny. So they're basically like, if you got Mrs. T's minis, that's the size of these. So while they're good, like any gluten-free food, they are expensive. But I just finished last week's live on editing and editors, and it was not how I expected it to be, honestly. I was thinking it was gonna be more about like how you edit, and while there was definitely a vibe of that, he really went in, and he does this all the time, Tom Bromley, which is great. I do feel like it's very great to have so many live examples, but he went in and compared like famous editors, like so he used Harper Lee and the To Kill a Mockingbird as well as Go Set a Watchman, and how 2 different editors worked on those books and like the changes that they made or brought forth, or how they made the story better or hindered the story. So there was a lot of discussion on like how an editor can make a difference in a book and why it's important, and the different types of editing. So like line editing, developmental edits, copy edits, etc. So overall, like it was great to just kind of like listen to all of that. I don't feel like there's necessarily practical information I can take out, more things just to keep in mind when I'm editing my own, and then maybe hopefully eventually getting a traditional editor to work with me. But overall, it was a good video. Now, because I'm making lunch, I was hoping to get back to writing at 11:30, but I got hungry first. So I'm going to actually watch my weekly video, which is the start of the middles week. So I'm excited to do that, and then we are going to get back into writing. So I'm aiming for like 11:45 to write my next 1,000 or so words. And we're going to kind of see how that goes, because I have the live editing at 3, and that's when I want to walk on the treadmill. Initially, I was going to flip-flop them, where I did cleaning later, and I did the treadmill earlier, but I switched them. So now we're going to walk on the treadmill between 3 and 4. All right, my water's boiling. I'm going to go, and we'll check in later. Hello all, I'm back in the kitchen doing dishes. Super upset about this massive cloud coverage. That means I cannot see the eclipse at all. Really, really fucking mad about it. I'm not gonna lie. But we can't do much else. So I'm watching the live stream, which is live editing. I kind of came in late because I was getting off the treadmill and didn't get to log in quick enough. So I kind of zoned out from this first one just because I didn't hear the beginning. But he does 4 normally, so I'll be able to see the next couple. And I may tune out like after like 1 or 2. Like if he does 4, I may quit at 3. I do want to shower. I need to run to the store and get ready for dinner. So nothing crazy, but so far it's been a really good day. I wrote 3,500 words so far, and I'm really jazzed about it. I want to keep writing, which is a great feeling, but I did need to get a couple things done, and I do have writing clubs. So even if I don't get any more words until I go to writing club, I should be able to get that 1,500 because I've been zooming through the words. I'm so enjoying this part. I just introduced a fae creature who I love. I love how like sassy he is. So overall, just really excited about what I'm doing and mad about the eclipse, but otherwise feeling really good. So we are going to get in the shower soon, get ready for dinner, go to writing club, finish the night on a win, I think. So I will update you when all is said and done. Hi guys, it's 9:30 at night and we did it. We had a very successful day. We watched both the live stream from last week and today. We watched today's video. We did all the extra, and today's video was about the middle, but it was actually about like encouraging writers to say that like if you got this far, you're better than like most people who attempt to write a book, because most people give up between 15 and 20,000 and we are at 36,000. And with that said, I wrote 5K today. I tried a 10K like last year, I think, and I have a video somewhere on my channel. And I said in that video too that even though I didn't get 10K, I think I could have, because when I get into something, 5K just flows very quickly. And given that I had so many gaps in between writing and I still got the 5K, I definitely think like a 10K is doable for me. It's just not something I enjoy. Like I don't enjoy trying to get to that goal. But 5K was so much fun and I felt very fulfilled writing today. I stopped at a place where I need to consult and maybe flesh out my outline a little bit more before I move on. And that was just over the 36,000 mark. So we're back on track. We're having fun, and that's day 1. So I will check in at some point throughout the week just to give some updates if I have any ideas, but so far off to a good start, my friends. Hi friends, it is Wednesday, April 10th, and I did write. I'm a little bit behind. I wrote a little bit yesterday, I wrote a little bit today, but I did not get 2,000 words total between yesterday and today. So like if we're keeping track of like the 1,000 words a day, I should be at 38,000. I'm currently at 37,272. But honestly, I did a little bit of plotting today, which I figured what I wanted to do was I wanted to write out my ideas for draft 2, because today's video in Reedsy was about reassessing your needs and wants. And they basically said that if you have a midpoint or like a midpoint reversal or anything like that in your novel, then at this point, like your character should be flipping from like the wants to getting to the needs. And I jotted some notes down about like where my character should be at, which at this point I realized that she should really be wanting to like say her last goodbyes to her family. And like even though like her family and friends, like maybe she doesn't have a lot and maybe they're not always the best for her, but like they are what she has, and that is what she like needs to do for herself, is like make peace. Like if she's gonna die, she needs to say goodbye for herself. Like yeah, things might not have gone well, but I can control this and this is what I need to do. But the way that I've so far set up the book, I didn't quite set it up well enough for that. What I realized I forgot to do was to make their like the vampire, when he whisked her away, was actually supposed to make this kind of like almost like that labyrinth scene where like if you guys have watched the movie Labyrinth, where Sarah's character is like in this dream world, and she almost forgets like what she's doing, and she forgets that she has to go look for Toby, and she's just kind of like, oh, this is so nice and I could stay here forever and this is wonderful. And like that's kind of like, without being that excessive, like the vampire needs to kind of like bring her in to be like, you don't need your family, like they didn't treat you well, but like I can make your last days feel really nice, and like you can be loved here, and like you can have your own good moments, like you don't need them because they never needed you. So like you can use this as your like final resting place, like have a good life for the last few days you have a life, if that makes sense. And I did that a little bit, and I was trying to hint at like that there is a darker tone, like the vampire's like intentions are not just noble. And also like, you know, again, like Casey like initially should feel like, yeah, like fuck my family, I don't want to talk to them, like they never did anything for me, like I don't owe them anything. And then eventually realizes that like the vampire is not who he says he is like manipulating her, and she realizes that like, yeah, I do want to say goodbye to my family, actually, like I want to die on my own terms. So to say that, now that I gave that mouthful, I realized that, you know, I made him a little bit too intense, which means that like she wouldn't want to stay with him at all. Like she would have like pieced out of there when he left the first time. So I need to kind of like just slow that down a little bit in my second draft and make sure that he is a little bit smoother. I have like in here that, you know, he basically like says that like almost like seducing her with kindness instead of like actually seducing her. Like, you know, the promise of this being the best choice for her and stuff like that. Like he needs to be a little bit sweeter with a little bit of those dark undertones before I like heavy hand put in like he's a bad dude. Like this is not a good situation. So I'm not going back to edit right now. We are just drafting, but I'm glad that I wrote it down so that when I go back to edit, that I should have an easier time with, because I already know like where I want to bulk some things up in. And furthermore, I do think this draft is relatively good. It's just going to be changes like that, like where I'm like, oh, I forgot that I need to slow this down or like expand this a little bit more. So yeah, I'm excited. I initially was like, maybe I'll just give this to readers after draft 1. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I am going to do a draft 2 and then try to find some readers, like beta readers. But that's the tentative plan right now. We'll see, because I might get to the end of this novel and be like, we're trashing this all and starting over. I don't think that's going to be the case, but we never know. So that's my thought. So I will say that I'm glad that the Reedsy video prompted me to re-examine those wants and needs, because I think I would have forgotten that, and that's the whole point of this novel. So yeah, thanks Reedsy, that was very helpful.
Plot links and making sure they're still there in evidence.
It's been a few days. It's Monday, April 15th, and I have not done much in the last few days. I did complete all the videos on time. Actually on Friday when I was at work, I had quite a few cancellations, and I binged the 3 videos and felt really good about that. On Friday night, I did some, I had a D&D night where we just planned our characters and tried to understand how to make a character for the first time. We are all noobs at this. Our dungeon master is a noob. Like, I've played 1 game of D&D, it was a one-shot, and I had somebody make my entire character. So like, we're all very new and like learning. It was very fun, but it was a lot. It was like 4 hours of just trying to figure out like what we're all doing here. And then Saturday, I really just wanted to read, honestly. And initially, like when I was planning my weekend, I was like, well, if I just write on Sunday, I'll be fine. So I'm like, I'm just gonna give into the reading bug. I've been reading The Return of Ellie Black by Amiko Jean, and I'm loving it, and I'm loving like the vibes of this mystery thriller and how I can kind of like, I'm taking inspiration from like this mystery thriller aspect into my own like fantastical horror novel, which was nice. So it's been like, it's a palate cleanser for reading, but it's also like helping my writing. And then we went out on Saturday night, and then Sunday came, and I thought I was gonna write on Sunday, but my whole day kind of went crazy because I decided to go to brunch. But it ended up being like a 3-hour endeavor. It was so long, and it was so unexpected that it was going to be that long. And while I had a good time, I then got a pounding headache afterwards, and I felt very sick. And, you know, it's that time of the month, so it killed me, and I did not expect it all of a sudden. So like, I was just so sick on Sunday night, and I could not move. And so I think it made sense because I was feeling very sluggish to begin with all weekend. So I just didn't get to write. So I'm about 2,000 words below schedule. I'm thinking around 38,000 when I should be targeting for 41,000 today. And I'm at work, and work has been very busy today, so I'm doing a very quick brief intermission while I'm eating lunch. But that's just to say, like, this week I'm really excited. We are officially over the halfway mark, and we are talking about specific writing skills this week. So words, verbs, sounds, sentences, paragraphs, and writing challenges. And I think it's a great week, and it's going to be nice, I think, to think about like all of these things as we're technically writing, you know. But I have to get into that, and it's a very busy day. I don't have a lot of time. I'm going to be traveling a little bit. Like, it's just one of those days. So I'm not feeling like bad or anything like that. I also think part of it is I hit kind of like a snag in my writing where I wasn't as enthused to write the scene that I was writing as I wanted to be, and I had a hard time pushing myself through that. So I also think that's why I put it off instead of like writing on Saturday. So my goal is today. I'm not really gonna, I initially was like, maybe I can get 2,000 words. I don't care how many words I get, but my goal is to finish that scene so I don't have to harp on it anymore and just be like, okay, it's done. We can go back and edit it. And obviously I want to do my videos. So yeah, it has been an interesting weekend, but I'm excited to get back into the writing flow and see where we get. But I wanted to check in and just be honest that, like, yeah, we didn't, for no reason other than my own, I didn't get my word count goal last week, but it's okay. We're making it happen. So what week are we in? We are on day 57, and we are, like I said, officially halfway done, and now we're on the end. So, you know, half my novels are in, which is pretty cool. So I will check back in when I have something to say. Hopefully that's not blurry. Guys, it's me, and it's Thursday, April 18th. I was in March, Jesus. It's been a rough week. And not as a whole. Let me explain. So this week I went back to work after having a few days off for Boston, and it was kind of like my first full week back, but I also had like the first like full week where I pretty much had like 8 hours of sessions booked or meetings or something. And for the most part, all of my sessions have showed up with like 1 or 2 exceptions. And I realize that for the majority of February and March with this program, even the beginning of April, I was really able to take advantage of writing at work. And that has kept me above water more than anything, because I would always get my 1,000 words at work and then come home and all I'd have to do was like the Reedsy stuff. This week, I have not been able to do that. And I already had been behind because I mentally was kind of exhausted last week. So I'm not mentally exhausted necessarily, but I just did not have time to write. And by the time I get home and I am making dinner and I'm cleaning up the house and I'm prepping for the next day and I'm doing all my life stuff after work, plus like trying to meet with other people, do all the other things I have to do, I have not had time to write. And I've tried here and there to get a couple words in, but it's literally been that. Like if I've written this week, it has been a few words at a time, like 50. And it's writing, like don't get me wrong, but having been on such a high flow for the last 2 months and then hitting this past week where, as I mentioned earlier, like Saturday into Sunday mostly. Like Saturday I kind of took a break, but then Sunday I didn't feel well all day, which took me out of a loop. Like I wasn't expecting to not feel well, and I already had the deficit of 2,000 words. So like right now, according to Reedsy, if I'm keeping up with my 5,000 words per week, I should be at 44,000 today, and I am at 38,611. So I'm a little behind, and I don't really want to get farther behind, because the more I get behind, the more I have to catch up. And I would like to finish this course with my 75,000 words. But honestly, it's hard. This is kind of like the whole thing with like ADHD paralysis, you know, like when things start to pile up and get really bad, you can't focus on it. And it's not just ADHD, anxiety, and like other mental health do it too. But I, like, as an ADHD anxiety person, that is one of my issues and why like I tend to procrastinate things. It's not that I'm trying to procrastinate, but it's because things are getting so piled up and I'm getting so behind on stuff that I want to accomplish that I just can't start anymore. And I'm realizing that as the week progresses, that is what's happening. I haven't been able to sit and write at my job because I've been working. Never a bad thing, right? It's just it just doesn't have the free time that I had normally. But because I haven't had that time and then I've come home and I've had to do other things, we've been in this cycle of I'm just overwhelmed and I can't do it. So it's Thursday. I have the night to myself, actually. My husband has gone out for the night. He's off on Fridays, so this is his Friday to essentially. But he's gone out with friends, and I'm really happy for him. But I am sitting here. It's already 5:30. I've been home for an hour. I got done with work at 3. I met some people to work on a retreat that we're doing. So I did like some business, like a business meeting, and then I came home, and I've been home for an hour, and I've just been like doing nothing. I just was like, okay, like I can write, like I have the night to myself, and I realized that I'm like so stuck and I don't know why. Like I know why. I know I'm in this cycle, so I need to just like do the thing now. I have to sit and write and get it out of the way. But I wanted to just kind of come in and be like, have this real talk about like the paralysis that sometimes like when your goals start to kind of get a little wonky or like life hits you upside the head and we can't get back on track. It is a very normal thing, but it's also like very common to not know how to get back into it. So we're gonna do the thing tonight. I'm not setting myself up for goals. I'm gonna write and see how it feels, and if I don't want to write anymore, I'm not gonna write. But I would like to get some words down on the page. Like I said, I'm at 38,611 out of the 45,000 I should be at for this week. So our goal is just to see how we can get, and hopefully, I know I could do a 5,000 words in a day. So I'm not promising that today, but if I know I could do 5,000 words in one day, over the next 4 days, I should be able to catch back up to 45,000. So, all right, real talk is over. I know I haven't talked too much about Reedsy this week. Reedsy's videos have been great. It is about the way that we write, like more specifically. So using verbs very intentionally, using like our sounds and like structuring the sentences. So I have been watching the videos. I haven't watched today's video. That's the first one. So we talked about words, verbs, and sounds. Now I'm on sentences. And they're all very worthwhile videos. I just haven't looked into any of the extras, but I was actually joking. I met with one of my co-writers last night, and we were talking about words, and we were looking at this one sentence, and I was like, oh, this isn't a very strong verb. Like, let's add this one instead. And I was joking, but like also serious that I'm learning in my course that we have to use strong verbs in order to like really pull the reader in. So I am retaining some information. Despite me not writing, I am still using the stuff when I'm sitting down. And I guess I should also say that I am writing sometimes. I've been doing some other dabblings with some other projects every now and then. And I also started a new poem. So like stuff is happening, it's just not how I thought it was going to be. So it's okay. All right, we're going to go. We're going to watch our Reedsy video. We're going to write, and we're just going to see how the night goes. But I have the night to myself. So let's go, friends. It's 6:30 a.m. on Sunday, April 21st. I need 5,000 words to catch up, despite the fact that I have like 3 different things to do today that are going to take up like not just like a little while. It's going to be like a few hours. It's going to be a challenge, but we got to get 5K, so let's go. Update. It is about 1:30 and I am only at 42,000. And I don't know what it is, guys. Like, I don't know if I'm mentally stuck, which, I mean, obviously writer's block is like mental stuff, right? But like, I don't know if it's just because like, I know I've been thinking about like the stuff I have to change for my second draft. And I think I might have said it in this vlog or a different vlog, but I was kind of initially thinking like maybe I will just send this draft out to readers like right after, because initially I was like, oh, it's gonna be pretty clean. But now I'm like, oh wait, I'm gonna have to tweak stuff to make it a little bit like the juxtaposition a little bit clearer. And I want to take I put a scene like way too early, and I intentionally had put it early, like thinking like I wanted to do it later in the book, but I was like, oh, it works here. But I had it later in the book in my outline for a reason. So I have to go back and like switch all that around. And I don't know if it was just getting to me that I'm like, shit, like that's not as clean as I was hoping it was going to be. But I'm trying to get over that. So my goal is at least to get one more 1,000 today. At least to get 3,000 words. So if I'm at 43,000 by the end of the night, I will be okay with that. Because even if I write Monday through Friday and get 1,000 plus words, I'm 2,000 behind. So I only have to add like 500 words every day. So if I write like 1,500 instead of 1,000, I should be fine. And I think it's doable this week. I don't have a lot going on until Friday. So that's where we're at. I just want to give a quick update. I haven't been writing consistently either. Like, I don't think I've been sitting here. I went out to breakfast with the family. I have been like cleaning and putzing around and doing TikTok breaks. And yeah, it has not been straight writing. But I am going to take a break now and edit this vlog because it should be going up tomorrow. And I'm like so far behind on editing. So we're going to take a little break. And then we have a birthday party to go to. And I will update you kind of at the conclusion of where we're at by the end, by the time I'm gonna upload this vlog. Okay, bye. It's 9:06 p.m. Did we do it? No. We got 42,506 words. So we are still behind. At this point, I am just gonna call it what it is. I'm actually finding a little bit of a groove now. I'm giving a little bit of backstory, and that tends to be like my bread and butter. Backstory that I think I'm gonna weave into like the main characters and hopefully be like a moment where they could connect, but like my main character is going to use that against the vampire essentially. So that's where we're going to end for the night. I got somewhere. I finally got the scene moving, so I'm going to call that a win. But as for the writing this week, wasn't the worst. I still kept writing at some points, but I did not keep up. And I will say, for the most part, like this is all me. This is not me needing to do anything. Like the course itself is just very self-paced. Like there's recommendations, right? There's recommended to do the daily videos daily, to read through things at your own pace. You can like do the word goal, which is 5,000 words a week, but you could do that all in one day. You could do that like in a week. You could do it in the 5 days they recommend. Like, but they recommend like doing like 1,000 words for Monday through Friday. Like, so 5,000 between Monday and Friday. So I'm not failing anything, right? I'm still writing. It's just the pace that I was keeping up, I expected to keep doing it, even though it's probably like hard when you're doing a course as well. I also haven't checked into the community tab in like a long time. So I think this week I'm gonna try to focus mostly on the writing, watch the videos secondary until I'm caught up, and we'll go from there, because I can always watch the videos when I'm like doing the dishes or doing the laundry. I have a hard time dictating, so I can't write when I'm doing those things. So I feel like if I prioritize writing first and then watching the videos, I'll have a much easier time this week. But that's where we're at. So what a weird vlog this has been, but thanks for sticking around in my rants and ramblings and writer's block. Hopefully in the next vlog we will break to that fully and get on a better stride again. If you made it this far, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know how your 2 weeks have been with writing endeavors, if you're also struggling, if things are going better for you in the last 2 weeks, and give me some positivity. So until next time, I will see you then. Bye.